It's Monday, October 28th, 2019, day trading recap. Today was a sort of typical day of what I've been dealing with for the last almost month, where I'll just basically be in a flat trade, and I'll just get out with nothing, or it ends up being a losing trade. I've been finding really very little lately. I've had a couple winners last few weeks, but mostly I'm just been it's a lot of scratching and clawing for some small profit. So I'm really waiting on earnings season, because that's when there's so many more opportunities. But there's also a lot of opportunities I just have missed, and this is one of them. PCG, which has been in the news, obviously, with all the fires in California. The stock has been day trading gold because it's just moving so much, and it's providing a lot of signals, a lot of opportunities to day trade. And you can see I put a candle right here, and I did it right at 10:30, right when this happened. This is where I put the candle. I said, or when I put the arrow, I said, this is where I want to get in, and I couldn't pull the trigger because it had a nice pattern down, and you can see, I'll show you, it gapped on the daily candle chart. Moving down a lot lately, obviously. Gapped down on Friday, and then it gapped again down today. So I was watching it to see what it would do once it gapped, and you can see it broke the 30-minute high. So it started here, down, came back up, got up above here, banged its head on the 8 EMA, came back down again, and then broke again. And that's where I said, let me get in here, because it's above a whole number for $4. But I just didn't feel like pulling the trigger. I don't know what it was, because I got burned on PCG a couple times last week. I really messed up, and I missed a really good pre-market trade on it as well, which I made a video about last week. So I just didn't want to get burned again, and that really should not affect how you trade. You shouldn't let the way you traded in another, especially for the same security, affect how you trade that same security later. As long as the data is supporting your trade, as long as everything lines up correctly, have all the factors in your favor, that should be deciding your trade, not the fear of screwing up again with the same stock. And look what I missed out on. So if I had gotten here at 405, which is where I wanted to get in, could have put my stop about 391, about 14-cent stop. At 405, it moved all the way up along the 8 EMA, kept going, spiked right up to 470. What is that little pivot point? 472. So from 405 to 472, 60 plus cent gain I could have had. And then after taking profits here, you could see a lot of people did that, probably because it started to fall back down, had another little blip up. I mean, you could have traded this range, you could have traded the little pullback, and then you could have traded a little bounce right here. A lot of opportunities. And then when it kind of spiked up here with this topping tail, you could have traded the down trend again. Could have shorted it when it broke the EMAs here at 431, and right now it's at 395. So another, almost 40 cents. There's so many opportunities here. I'd get rid of all this. But this is where I was thinking of getting in right here, and I just couldn't pull the trigger, and again, missed another opportunity. So this PCG has been just a rough one for me to trade, but it's been gold if you're a day trader and you've been following the signals and really just sticking to the trading strategy. You could really make decent money on PCG. So, but I didn't. But I did trade today, sort of, HCP. And you can see I got in here and got out there, basically right where I got in, a few cents above. I got in at 36.25 and eventually got out at 36.28. So a nice 3-cent gain, which was absolutely, basically just being flat, right? $3 on 100 shares if that's what you're taking. So I'll show you why I got in. So this was one that was moving down the last few days. Had a bad down day. I've been moving up lately, obviously the last few months. Then came down with a big red day yesterday. I don't know if it was earnings or not. I actually don't remember what it was. I think it might have been earnings. Let me just check. Yeah, I had earnings last week, about two or three trading days ago. So yeah, I think earnings eventually hurt it, and so it came down on Friday, and then today it gapped down again a little bit. It's closed at like 36.35, and it gapped down to about 36.08. So this showed up on my volume alert, or my gappers up down list. It came down, gapped down a little, had a red bar here to start the day, 5-minute bar, a little 2 green pullback, and then another big drop, and then a big bottoming tail here, which, if you're watching this, a lot of two bar pullbacks here for signals. Look, bottoming tail here, green bar, 2-bar pullback, green bar, green bar. So this is actually the ideal spot to get in because it just had a little pullback with that bottoming tails as indicating maybe a bounce, and then it broke the 80 MA. So if I was paying attention right here at 35.72, that would have been the spot to get in. You could have ridden it all the way up to 36.37. I didn't. I waited for this pullback. I thought this would be a 2-bar pullback, or not 2-bar pullback, just any kind of pullback. Came down. Actually, I was looking at this as a 2-bar pullback. This 15-minute 2 candles here. That's why I got in here on the 15-minute candle chart. So I was watching this pull back to the 8, and I got in here thinking, okay, a lot of topping tails here, but if it pulls back and holds the 80 MA, it could continue back up. You know, it had the bottom drop, worked its way back up to the high of the day. Maybe it settles on that high of the day. I used that as my stop. I think my stop was, 36.13. I said I get out. But then it kind of faded, and actually this little pivot point is right at 36.13. That's where my stop was. I didn't get out. I didn't pull a trigger just because it didn't close there. It just came down to there. So I held on. I was so close to just exiting and saying, screw it, it's a loss. Then it moved back up a little bit, and then I said, you know what, this doesn't have the juice. So I waited for it to get above where I got in just so I can make a little bit of money off of it, at least, you know, not be negative on the day if this was my only trade. And I got out at 28, because I got in at 25. And I was glad I got out because you could see about 15 minutes later, that's where it said, we're done. And sellers started kicking in and bringing it down. So it eventually hit my stop again. So I would have gotten out eventually here. But luckily, I saved some money. So management-wise, this was really well managed trade. It was just not a great identification of a stock that was going to do much today. I figured it could... well, you know what? And the thing I realized later is that when you look at the daily candles, what do you see here? Lots of activity right here with these bottoming tails right here. So it would have had to bust through a lot of this area, which there's a lot of probably orders right in here. Tough to break through that. If it broke through that, I could see it recovering back to here, back to the high of the last trading day. But this is a lot of recent activity here, resistance to get through. And I just didn't factor that in when I got in the trade. I figured, you know, because it had gapped down and had been moving down, it might have a nice recovery day, especially since it was bouncing off this moving average, this 50 moving average on the daily chart, simple moving average. But just didn't have enough juice, and now it looks like it might end up being like closing like a doji here. If it stays green or at least closes where it opened, that could be an indication that the next trading day it'll bounce up. Or this is when you see a doji like this to close the day, you look for what the next day does. And if it's a green candle, then as far as swing trading goes, you might want to get in and ride it back up because it's signifying that it's a possible bounce. But as far as day trading goes, it just was flat as all hell. Like, it just couldn't get anything out of that. But managed it correctly. Like I said, got out above where I got in, didn't lose any money, and I got out really right before it started dropping down again. So that was okay. I'm more concerned about how I just could not pull the trigger with PCG when I wanted to. I wanted to get in here, and it would have been a beautiful, beautiful move. I mean, that's just, you know, the stock's in play. You know it's in play because of all the news, and it's been in play it's really been in play the last 3 days. And then over the last few weeks, there's been a lot of days where it's really been in play, really dynamic. And this was one of them. Just could not do it. So hopefully I'll be able to buck up and pull the trigger on a trade like this next time. We'll see. But it's only Monday, so I can't get too upset. Didn't lose any money today. Just happy to technically be in the green. I'm going to put probably a couple links in the description for trade ideas. There's some referral links, so if you're interested in trade ideas, click on the links and it'll bring you to their site. You can't really day trade without trade ideas. It's the best trading scanning software out there. You can customize it all you want. If you're not too interested in making your own scans, you can get them everywhere. So many people will offer you links to their scans, which means you just copy the link into your software and it downloads the scan, and boom, pops right up on your layout, and you can trade that. You can mess around with those as well and tinker with them. So I'm going to put that link in there. If you're interested, click on the link and it'll refer you to the Trade Ideas specific website sections for whatever the link is. Some of them are for information on their AI system, and others are just if you're looking to take maybe a month subscription out, you can click on the link. So I'll put those in the description, and that's it for today. Good luck. See you next time.